Welcome to the recording of our webinar today, Facebook and Social Media Marketing for Dental Practices. As we get started today, let me go through a quick outline of how we're going to spend the next few minutes. First of all, we're going to talk about very basics of social media. What is social media marketing? Secondly, we're going to talk about how it's done in a dental practice. How is the idea of social media actually applied and become relevant to a dental practice? Third, why on earth would you do this? You may have asked yourself this question, and we want to address it directly. Why on earth should a dental practice be involved in social media marketing? Fourth, we want to talk a little bit about some things you can do today. We want this webinar to be actionable so you can leave the webinar with a couple of ideas of things you can start doing today. And then we're going to take some questions at the end. So let's start off with talking about what is social media marketing. The answer is really quite simple. Social media marketing is word of mouth online. And you're familiar with the many tools that are available for social media marketing. So that's a really simple way to think about it. Word of mouth online. The most influential element driving purchase decisions today, according to WOMA, the Word of Mouth Marketing Association, is word of mouth. More so than information on a website, more so than emails sent by friends, more so than online reviews. The driving force in purchasing decisions today is word of mouth. What do marketing thought leaders mean when they say marketing has changed? We hear this a lot. A lot of articles are being written, and there's a lot of talk about how marketing in 2011 has changed. Let me quote a couple of thought leaders and what they say. Chris Brogan has said that marketing has changed. Today, marketing is about engaging with communities and delivering products and services with stories that spread. So think about that, engaging with people with stories that spread. We're also big fans of Seth Godin around here, and there's a great quote that he has recently said about how marketing has changed. You can no longer market to the anonymous masses. They're not anonymous, and they're not masses. You can only market to people who are willing participants. If you can start thinking that way, it'll really help you kind of wrap your head around social media marketing's value and why it's very different than traditional marketing. We're often asked the question, what really is the fundamental difference between traditional marketing and social media marketing? And I have found that one way that seems to really help people to think about this is to consider the concept of push versus pull. Traditional marketing uses push tactics, such as direct mail and TV commercials, to interrupt people's attention. So, for example, if you're driving down the freeway and you see a billboard on the side of the road, it's designed to interrupt you. It's designed to interrupt whatever it was you were thinking about and to push a message on you. That's a push tactic. Social media marketing, on the other hand, uses pull tactics based on behavior to engage when and how people want to engage. It's permission-based marketing. So if you think about push versus pull, it'll kind of help you differentiate traditional marketing from new marketing or social media marketing. Let's talk for a minute about how social media marketing is done inside of a dental practice. One of the best ways to kind of think about this is to consider this idea that effective social media marketing in a dental practice is kind of like a three-legged stool or a three-legged chair. There are three components. Certainly the right tools are important, and we're going to talk in just a minute about tools. Second, having the right person, or in many cases people, makes a difference in how effective your social media marketing is, and we'll talk about that in just a minute as well. Finally, the third leg of this stool is you have to have the right mindset. You have to have strategies, you have to have ideas, you have to have tactics. It's not enough to just have tools and go open these free accounts. It's not enough to say, well, we have a page on Facebook, or we have a Twitter account, or we have a YouTube channel. So why aren't people flocking our way, or why isn't this working? You've got to combine it with someone with a little bit of enthusiasm for getting it done, and most importantly probably is you've got to have some tactics and some strategy. And if any one of these three legs is not there, then your social media marketing will certainly be less effective. So let's talk for a couple of minutes about the right tools. There are thousands of social media tools. It's completely overwhelming. And while we spend every day reading about these tools and testing them, you don't have time to do that. And so it feels very overwhelming to most people. But we have found with our clientele that if we narrow this down to some really simple, basic, foundational tools, it doesn't mean that some of the others aren't great and you may use them and may find value in them. But certainly if you're just getting started and you're not sure what to do, we've narrowed it down and found much success in the dental practice by utilizing 4 tools. So let's talk first about a blog. We've shown you the icon here for WordPress because we happen to use a WordPress platform, but there are many other platforms that you could use. A blog could be considered sort of the hub of your efforts. In other words, a lot of the other things that you do are a little more temporary. They're a little more flighty. They're a little more here now, gone tomorrow. A blog can kind of give you a focus, sort of a foundation, sort of a hub where content can reside. So we believe that one of the most important things is to have some kind of a blog base for your social media efforts. The nice thing about having a blog is you can not only link to all of your other integrated tools, but you can provide information that's interesting to people. No longer is dentistry something that's to be feared or something that's boring. There are many opportunities to talk about the many fascinating aspects of dentistry. You may be thinking, well, people don't really want to talk about dentistry. Well, it's not true. There are ways to talk about dentistry in really interesting ways. And of course, in social media, you don't want to always be talking about dentistry. So there are opportunities with a blog to talk about a number of different things. There's an opportunity to embed video to make these blog posts very engaging and fun to read. The second component, when we're talking about tools, the second tool we like to talk a lot about is Facebook. And you hear a lot about Facebook, and in a few minutes we're going to talk even more about Facebook. But Facebook is certainly one of the 4 foundational tools that we recommend. The third one is Twitter. Twitter is a very interesting and very effective tool when it's used properly and when you understand it. It is probably the furthest tool away from traditional marketing. And the mistake that so many dental practices make is that they think Twitter is a traditional tool, that it's a traditional way to get your message out, that all you have to do is offer specials and say, come in and do this, come in and do this. It's not a yellow page ad. Twitter is a very unique tool, but it can be very powerful if you understand how to use it. Fourth, we talk about having a YouTube channel and using video in some way in your dental practice. And YouTube is just one place to archive video. It's a very good place to do it, and it's a good place to be able to distribute video to other places. But there are other tools that you could use for video besides YouTube. For our clients, we recommend that they use YouTube. So those are the 4 tools that we talk about. Let's talk about the right person for just a minute. You may be asking yourself, do we need some kind of in-house, in-office social media guru to be able to go out and do social media effectively? The answer is absolutely no. You don't need an in-office social media guru. What you do need, however, is you need some very specific characteristics in the person that you're most interested in having kind of take the lead on your social media efforts. This is, in our opinion, this is the most effective traits that we've seen. Find somebody in your practice that has a good attitude, and that this is so important, that they be someone who's optimistic and upbeat and who really believes that these efforts make a difference, because they do. And people that, if you're choosing someone that's kind of, I don't know, yeah, I guess I'll do it, you will not be as effective. So find someone with a great attitude. Number 2, find someone in your practice who loves your patients, and we hope all of your team members do, but it's important that they have a genuine concern and genuine love for your patient base. Number 3, find someone who can focus a little bit of time each week. Now, social media marketing, when you do it right and you understand it, it does not take a ton of time. However, you need somebody that can dedicate at least 30 minutes a week. Preferably a little bit more, but even if they just can devote 10 or 15 minutes 2 or 3 times a week, you can certainly get a great start with social media marketing. So find someone that can focus a little bit of time. And finally, we recommend that you find somebody who works inside the practice. That doesn't mean necessarily that a spouse who does not work in the practice but certainly has the best interests of the practice in mind couldn't do this. However, generally speaking, finding someone who is in the practice every day, who's working with patients, who sees the ebb and flow and has the, just really has a feel for what happens in the practice is probably best. So that's our thought about having the right person heading up your social media marketing. Let's talk for the next few minutes about the right mindset, strategies, and ideas. We often are asked many questions, and you may have asked yourself these same questions. Every one of these questions can be answered by thinking about the right mindset, the right strategies, and the right ideas. We often hear these questions. How do I tie all of this together? Does this fit with my existing marketing? The marketing that I'm already doing in my dental practice, can social media be integrated to fit with it? What if people say something negative? We still have people that are worried about negative comments and how to deal with those. You can have a strategy for doing that. It's not difficult. What would I write about? I'm afraid of being boring. We often hear dental practices say, we just worry that we won't have enough to say. Won't this just waste my valuable time? How do I measure social media's effectiveness? And probably the one we hear most, where and how do we get started? Where do we begin with all of this? So I hope that the next couple of minutes that we talk about strategy and ideas will help answer all of these questions. So let's take one example. Let's say that one of the strategies that you want to employ in your practice and in your social media marketing efforts is to harness the power of Facebook. So first, you got to have the right mindset about Facebook. You've got to be able to understand why Facebook is valuable. You probably know these statistics. You probably have heard them many times. Facebook has 800 million users. It's where the people are. Depending on which study you look at today, anywhere from 72 to some reports say 91% of Americans have a Facebook account. So the likelihood that most of the patients in your practice have engage in some way with Facebook is very high. During October 2011, the average U.S. Facebook user will spend 7 hours and 46 minutes on Facebook, more than anywhere else online, including Google. It's where people are, and it's where people are spending their time. Many people don't know and haven't heard this statistic that the fastest growing segment of Facebook users is 50 to 55-year-old women. Baby boomers are flocking to Facebook, and it is an ideal target market for a dental practice. So there's lots of reasons why Facebook should be part of your strategy. So let's talk about what a Facebook strategy might look like. Here's a little comic by Tom Fishburne that I've always found really, really interesting and telling. So you can see this is a Facebook wall, and the dental practice or whatever the business is says, I've spent hours of self-promotional on self-promotional comments. Why doesn't anybody like me? Well, Facebook must be broken. And you can see that all they even talk about is themselves. Me, 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 over and over and over and over. Well, you wouldn't go to a cocktail party and walk in the front door and run over to the bar and stand up on the bar and start talking about yourself, would you? Of course you wouldn't. So just like any other social interaction, you've got to not just talk about your practice. It's not enough to go to your wall and say over and over, come in and get an implant, come in and get a smile makeover, come in, come in, come in, buy our stuff, buy our stuff, buy our stuff. That's not how these tools work, and certainly not the way Facebook works. Posting varied and interesting wall content is so important to success on Facebook. If you look at those practices that really have a lot of engagement and have a lot of likes and get a lot of traction on Facebook, as you look through the things they post, you see that they're varied and there's lots of different things. In this case, I'm showing you a dynamic smile design. One of our clients, they have an in-house whitening special. So it doesn't mean that you can't talk about dentistry or can't talk about your products. Certainly you want to mix some of that in. They had a patient appreciation party. If you scroll down a little bit, there's a blog post from their blog that we've helped write for them that's pushed through to their Facebook wall. Next, an expression of thanks, being thankful for their patients and for all of the great things that happen in their practice. Here's an explanation about a new technology and something that might be interesting to people that's technologically related. Here's another blog post from our company that pushes through here. Here's a question. They've asked a question and offered a little small gift, a little gift card. Then next, a pop culture comment. So you can see that an effective Facebook wall has a lot of varied ideas. There's a birthday wish, comment on local interest. Keep in mind that the people that you really want to talk to on Facebook are people that are potential patients. So that would be people in your geographic area of influence. So talking about things in your town or your city or your neighborhood that are interesting to the people that live there is a good idea. People are interested in things happening in their community. So as you look through and having a little bit of fun, here's they posted this fun little photo and put their names on it, and so a little bit of fun mixed in is absolutely important to do. People are people first and patients second. If you keep that in mind and make things interesting to people, you'll have a lot more success. So where do you get ideas? We are always asked that. I never have enough ideas for Facebook. Well, there's lots of places to get ideas. We help by publishing a lot of ideas to help our clients. But we published a book recently, 20 Great Ideas for Your Wall. And here's a few of them we pulled out. Patient of the Week program, idea number 2. Idea number 4, ask a question. Questions can lead to a lot of comments and a lot of engagement on your practice wall. Making a simple video and posting it to your Facebook wall is really a great way to interact with people and to make connections. And talking about achievements. Personal achievements are fine. Team members that are getting married or having anniversaries or are doing interesting things in the community. In this case, one of the doctors at one of our client practices is a runner. So talking a little bit about those kinds of things is great. That's not talking about yourself all the time. If you want to, when we're finished here, if you want to go download these free PDF booklets, you can get 20 great wall post ideas and 20 great wall questions to ask on your Facebook wall. You can download these from our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysocialpractice. So when we're finished here, go do that, and right off the bat, you've got 40 great ideas for your wall. Third thing we want to talk about, we've talked about what social media marketing is, how you do it in a dental practice. So let's talk about the why. Why would you want to do this? Well, we could talk about this for days, for hours and days, actually. But let me narrow it down. What are the benefits? Why would you do this, and what are the benefits? So recently, here at My Social Practice, we wrote a blog post about this subject, and we have, over many months of studying the benefits for a dental practice, have distilled the benefits down into 3 very specific benefits. The first we call visibility and shareability. The second is culture, clout, and connections. And the third is this concept of giving and introspection. So let me talk about each one of these briefly. First of all, visibility and shareability. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself there. All right. Visibility and shareability. I want to talk to you for just a minute. To understand what I mean by visibility and shareability, let's talk about a concept called community-driven marketing. And the idea is that over time, word of mouth spreads ideas. And your ideas can not only become more visible, and your practice can not only become more visible, but by empowering people to share it, it has legs, and it's able to create a lot more momentum and a lot more word of mouth and a lot more referrals. So down here, this concept of community-driven marketing is this idea that cultivating and enabling. The definition of community-driven marketing is cultivating and enabling practice fans who willingly share your story with their trusted highly scalable, permission-based social networks. So, word of mouth, which has been around forever, ever since backyard fences were built and people were speaking over them, there's been word of mouth. You add to that, though, the scalability of social media tools. You empower people to share the story. That leads to community-driven marketing. So word of mouth, the scalability of social media tools combined together creates this concept of community-driven marketing. Sharing with trusted, scalable, permission-based networks. Also, part of having more visibility and shareability in your practice is this opportunity using social media to have promotions and contests and deals and check-ins and a lot of things that people really enjoy doing and things that were impossible to do prior to these kinds of tools being available. So having a promotion, people be able to enter to win things, be able to check in and at your practice to be entered to win stuff, it creates a lot of excitement, and people like to share it with other people who are not your patients but will one day be your patients. Also offers, new patient offers, a little bit different than promotions. New patient offers are often tied to dentistry services, whereas promotions are often not tied to dentistry services. Why? Because dentistry services don't generate the excitement that giving away some tickets to a show or tickets to a play in your community, or an iPad or an iPod. Those kinds of promotions are different than new patient offers, and they generate more interest. So let's talk for a minute about culture, clout, and connection. So first part, again, we just talked about visibility and shareability. Benefit number 2, culture, clout, and connections. And so the idea here is that by increasing patient loyalty, you increase the longevity of them being your patient, and the more likely they are to share your story and have referrals for your practice. I got a couple of examples here, one from Oak Mountain Orthodontics. You can see here on their wall that they got a message that says, "Hey, I called your office and realized you guys are closed on Friday. My son was in yesterday getting spacers. He now realizes that you can pull them out if you fool around with them too much. So he has one that's missing. I wanted to see if you guys, what I should do." You can see by looking at the timestamp there that within, about 30 minutes or so, there was a response, even on a day they were closed, from Dr. Denny, where she says, "Hey, Alex, there'll be somebody there this morning for emergencies till 11:30. I asked them to give you a call. If you don't hear from them in the next 30 minutes, then call and we'll take care of it." This kind of ability to respond and to help people is clearly one of the benefits of social media tools. The concept of clout, how often prior to having these kinds of tools could you get this kind of word out? Here's an example from another orthodontic practice, actually, where Dr. Gemme and Middleburg were attending an Invisalign summit in Las Vegas. And during the summit, they were tweeting and posting to their wall pictures, all the things that they were learning that would help their patients. Now, prior to having social media tools, how would you have done this? You might have taken a couple of photos. When you got back to the office, you might have taken the roll of film down to the corner drugstore and got a couple prints made and pinned them up in your practice and hoped that people walked by and kind of saw them. But the likelihood of them being able to actually participate with you in this experience and even share it with other people, or at least express some kind of interest, was very small. So you can increase the clout of the things that you're doing by using your tools effectively. Strategy number 3, giving and introspection. This is a kind of a difficult benefit to kind of realize, because it requires that you think about marketing in a different way, that you think about the long-term benefits of having a loyal patient base and the growth that comes to you and your team by being a giving and introspective practice. We do a lot of writing about that. You're welcome after we're finished here to go to mysocialpractice.com, subscribe to our blog. We write lots of blog posts about this third benefit. that by becoming a giving practice, you change the dynamic in your practice. You change the feeling there and the feeling among the team. There's more of a feeling that what you do matters in the world, that you're not just there to treat teeth, you're there to treat people, and that you're interested in people, and that you're doing the right things for the right reason. And we don't have time to go into all the details, but trust me that giving and introspection is a huge benefit of social media marketing. Now, your practice may already have a really great feeling in it, and I'm not saying that you have to do this to have a feeling like that in your practice. But social media marketing can take marginal practices and make them great, and take great practices and even make them greater in terms of the feeling of and the opportunity to give and to become a giving business. This type of storytelling and being able to share these kinds of stories reinforces that what you're doing matters. It fosters a giving attitude that's infectious and self-actualizing. It strengthens patient relationships and increases referrals, and absolutely impacts your team dynamics. This results in a very natural long-term growth that you'll see over time. And those practices that have been working hard on this for even several months start to get the vision of how this can work. So you're welcome to go to our website and read this entire article. I really think it will help you to really realize the magnitude of social media marketing and how it can help your practice. All right, so we've talked about what is social media marketing, how is it done in a dental practice, why on earth would you do this, and let's talk for a few minutes about 3 things that you can start doing today. First, decide you're going to be a social business. I know that sounds simple and crazy, but you know what? You've got to kind of make a commitment to yourself. You've got to say, it feels right in my gut. I don't understand how it works yet. I don't know how we're going to make Twitter turn into more butts in seats. I don't know how Facebook is going to bring more referrals. I really can't see it yet, but something inside of me, something intuitively is telling you that there's value in what you're doing. And when you get that feeling, you need to make the commitment to be a social business. This is not a one-time campaign. Social media isn't like running a direct mail program. Social media marketing is a shift in the way that you run your practice and the way you market yourself. So decide right now that you're going to be a social business. Now here's a great example. Here's a great example of a business that is certainly not a social business, but they say, hey, like us on Facebook. Well, you see a lot of businesses that say that, who haven't decided that they really are a social business, but they think, oh, we'll get a Facebook account. That'll do it. Don't be that kind of practice. Why are we still on Facebook? I thought that social media was last month's campaign. Well, I just said, that's not the way you approach social media either. Second thing, after you've decided, you need to do a little bit of reading. Now, I'm not saying you got to read a bunch of big, thick books or spend a lot of time on this, but whoever's going to head this up, just spend a few minutes each day, if you can, and regularly read some blog posts. chrisbrogan.com, great place to start. He posts every day. His posts are very short and very easy to read. If you read his blog for a month, you'd know more about social media marketing than 99% of the dental practices in the world. Second one, SethGodin.typepad.com. You may already be familiar with Seth Godin. He's often called today's greatest marketing mind. Very short posts. He posts nearly every day as well. And of course, a little plug for My Social Practice. We believe that if you subscribe to our newsletter and read our posts each day, we take everything out there that has to do with social media marketing, and we distill it down into something that's specific to dentistry and to marketing dental and orthodontic practices. So you can learn a lot by reading our blog. So do some reading. Number 3, use, or better use if you're already using, Facebook. Once you have a presence on Facebook, it's not enough to just have it there. We've talked a lot for the last few minutes about posting relevant and engaging content to your Facebook wall. but you've got to get the word out. And the reason you got to get the word out is because you've got to get your patient base to go like your page, and to be able to see what you're doing on Facebook, they have to go and opt into liking your page. You may want to consider doing a little bit of print in your practice and handing things out. I mean, think about it. You've got this captive audience. Let's say that you have 10 patients a day, or 20, or 30, or some practices have 40, 50, 60 people a day that are coming into their dental practice, and they're a captive audience. I mean, they already like you because you're their dentist and they're coming to your place. I mean, capture those people in a loving and engaging and friendly and thoughtful way by putting your arm around them and give them a card and say, look, we're trying to build our presence on Facebook because it's a great place for you to learn about dentistry, to keep up with what we're doing, to take advantage of promos that we're running and offers. So here's a little card with our Facebook URL. Go like our page. We'd really appreciate it. In fact, there are a lot of dental practices that either have a computer handy in the waiting area or when people check out, or they have an iPad or two where they hand the iPad while someone's sitting in the operatory. Maybe they're waiting to get numb or whatever, and they can like your Facebook page right there while they're in your practice. So take advantage of that. It's a great opportunity. We appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. We hope we can be of help to you. Have a great day.